Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Feeling how you're doing today? We are going to be talking about Jadon Sancho and the transfer window as we go a little bit deeper into what is happening in the transfer window. So, guys, first and foremost, Jadon Sancho and Chelsea are done for. They are not going to be having this situation. They are not going to have Jadon Sancho is not going to be joining Chelsea, which is a good thing. Well, let me not say it's a good thing. It's problematic to say the least. It is problematic to say the least. So that's definitely one thing that I would say. However, we are basically hearing news from the likes of Fabrizio Romano and Dave Ornstein all talking about Jadon Sancho and him not being able to kind of stay at Chelsea because they did not come into an agreement with Chelsea. But before we go into that, we got a lot of things to talk about. We got Bruno Fernandez talking about him staying and rejecting what they call them Al Hilal. We are looking at Cesc Fabregas might be open to the move to Inter Milan. And what are the implications about that situation? We are looking at Luka Modric leaving Real Madrid after the Club World Cup and where he's going to land. So we have a lot of transfer windows happening. We are looking at Al Hilal basically getting Theo Hernandez. So we have a lot of things going on in this situation, and I'm going to be keeping you guys updated with every transfer window as we have just figured out how to actually make the live the live video actually really nice. And you guys can let me know what you guys think about this situation and this setup as we correct things and get better. But without further ado, let's get into it. I will see you guys after this. Alrighty. So right now we are talking about Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho, and before we go any further, we have to put what Jadon Sancho has said in so we can basically read it together. So Jadon Sancho goes on, he says, Jadon Sancho, or Fabrizio Romano anyway, says Jadon Sancho leaves Chelsea and returns to Manchester United with a 5 million euro penalty clause paid. And then he basically gave this is basically Jadon Sancho's words. He said, grateful for the experience, big love to everyone at Chelsea who made me feel at home, teammates, staff, and the fans, wishing the club all the best moving forward. So this is basically what Jadon Sancho said in this situation. And let me tell you this. This is quite a tough one, in my opinion, because Jadon Sancho, when you're looking at this situation, Jadon Sancho has had such a torrid time at Manchester United. He has basically come out and basically voiced out all the grievances that he does not want to play for United. He has not felt welcomed at United, and this particular thing is quite terrible to even see that we are still dealing with this situation right now. It is truly not what we want to be seeing from Jadon Sancho. And this problem basically came where Jadon Sancho had to with Chelsea, negotiate with Chelsea, and then basically come up with an idea or the focus of Jadon Sancho getting into their kind of wage bill because Jadon Sancho does not they do not want to pay Jadon Sancho more than what Cole Palmer is getting, for instance. And that is what he would have been getting if he kept on playing for Manchester United. But now what you see in this situation, him coming back to Manchester United triggers a 25% um, wage cut anyway. Because that 25% wage cut is because Manchester United did not qualify for the Champions League. And so, because Manchester United did not qualify the Champions League, he's going to get that wage cut. As he gets the wage cut, in my mind, I'm then thinking, I'm like, bro, you are 25, if not 24. Why don't you just choose to play football? Why don't you just choose that football should be the main idea? Why don't you just focus on actually just playing football and not doing this whole turnarounds and turnarounds. I do believe that he has situations waiting for him in terms of he has a team that would actually pay for him, but it's either that, and I don't think any team in Europe would want to pay Jadon Sancho for that situation or that amount of money based on his style of play and based on his production of what he has done lately. So in that case, I'm like, Jaden, why don't you just choose this? You have Champions League to play. You have a lot of things to play in this situation. So why are you going to basically go away from Chelsea to then start looking for a new club? When Chelsea is close to home, you are a London boy, you are close to family. That is just a perfect setup for you. And they wanted you to stay. They wanted you to stay. They did not have any kind of ill will to you actually staying, but you just did not want to take the pay cut. Now, the pay cut was reported to be a quite significant one. So I understand if that is too much for Jadon Sancho. I just feel like he needs to get his he needs to get his football career back on track. Jadon Sancho is a good player. He's a good player that just had a really bad time at Manchester United. And so he needs to get his football back on track and back going into the way it's meant to be. And so that's basically the news for Jadon Sancho. For right now, we are going to start talking about what Bruno Fernandes had to say about him rejecting Saudi and the club Al Hilal. So in this situation, you hear basically here Bruno Fernandes says Al Hilal for me was an easy move, even at a family level. I had João Cancelo there, but I want to maintain myself at the highest level. I wanted to keep playing in the big competition and feel capable of it. Now, let me tell you this about this situation with Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, in this situation here, is not just talking about him staying at Manchester United. He's also speaking about Manchester United getting to a place that they need to get to. They need to get to a place where they actually feel confident enough to actually challenge for situations, challenge for the league, challenge for the Champions League, challenge for the Europa League, depending on wherever we are playing. But one thing is for sure, Manchester United, based on their transfer window, have started acting like a club that want to challenge for those things. And first things first, you look at what they have done in the transfer window. Manchester United does not have a Champions League to play. We don't have a Europa League nor a Conference League. We are going to be focusing on the Premier League. That focus on the Premier League is going to be so determined and so um how do I call it, tunnel visioned, that Manchester United have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to shock a lot of people in the Premier League next season. And I'm saying this because not only have we just bought literally 38 goals, if I'm not mistaken, 38 goals and around 18 to 18 to 19 assists with the arrival of Mateus Cunha and the willingness to join Manchester United with Brian Mbuemo. We are having a lot of situation in in this transfer window. It is going to get good. That is definitely one thing that I have to tell you. It is going to get good, and I cannot wait to see how things go about this. I am happy Bruno stays because this doesn't just show his belief in Manchester United and his want to play football. We all know Bruno Fernandes is a football nerd. Everything he wants to do is football, football, football. But this also shows that when his team in Sporting had that case of where the ultras broke into the training ground and basically assaulted the players, he was one of the star men to actually stay. When you saw the likes of Bas Dos leave because he got stitches in his head, you saw the likes of Rui Patricio leave. Bruno Fernandes was considering leaving, but chose to stay because of his love for Sporting. And now you see the love for Bruno Fernandes and his love for Manchester United, and then you understand why Bruno Fernandes wants to stay at Manchester United. However, Manchester United have to repay this loyalty in terms of us going into the market and actually doing big things to get him players around him that can absolutely fight and love the trophy and love the process, getting Manchester United back to where we are meant to be. And that is definitely why one of the reasons why Bruno Fernandes, I believe right now, is not signing and preparing for the Club World Cup with um Al Hilal. So before we go into the next one, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Um, like that video on the at the bottom. Comment down below what you guys think about the stories that we have spoken about so far, and make sure you guys hit the subscribe button because 96% of the people that watch the content here have not subscribed. So the subscribers definitely make YouTube understand that you guys want this and can actually recommend this to you guys. So thank you very much for you guys doing that down below. Thank you. And for the next things, and the next transfer news that we are talking about, it is going to be um AC Milan's new director, Ilga Ta, dreams of bringing Luka Modric to the club. He is one of the names mentioned in the initial internal talk. Modric received several approaches from clubs all, of, all over the world since leaving Real Madrid, not in the rush to pick his next club. So that's one thing about Luka Modric. I'm shocked that Luka Modric is actually going to be remaining and playing football because a lot of players these days would actually, when they leave Real Madrid, they just want to retire. They feel like it doesn't get any better. And in that situation, it's like, well, we are going to get arguably worse. So why am I actually dealing with this situation? But you also see here, we also have like more on exclusive from Fabrizio Romano, as it says, more on world exclusive story on Luka Modric and AC Milan revealed yesterday. AC Milan are prepared to suffer, or to, I said suffer, to offer contract valid until June 2026 plus option until June 2027. It is 3.5 million plus add-ons net season. So that's one thing for sure. That's what AC Milan actually wants to offer. Now, I would say this. I think he would be a good addition to that midfield. Of course, they have Fofana in that midfield that is a young player that absolutely does the madness when it comes to bossing the field. However, I think it's a situation where does he actually just want to go into the grind of playing football at that level? Because Italian football is no joke. It's no joke. I'm telling you, it is truly hardening and it's a tough one because the defensive nature of Italian football. You see the likes of Monza, who is one of the worst Italian sides in the Serie A. They have such a defensive mindset that I don't know if he's going to be able to actually do the business at AC Milan the way he would like to do it. But I still think it's quite a clever one. If AC Milan can get him, I think it will be excuse me, it will be brilliant in my opinion. And then for midfielders that have retired and are now coaching, we are looking at Cesc Fabregas, one of my favorite midfielders when I was actually paying attention to Arsenal. It's basically reported by Florian Plattenberg here. It says Cesc Fabregas is one of the most desired candidates to succeed Simone Inzaghi at Inter. Until recently, RB Leipzig also had hopes, but Como did not grant him permission to leave. Now, this situation is actually quite um, shocking because for you guys that do not know, I said Javi Alonso, said Fabregas is one of the the very few. In fact, he's the only person that I can say that is an owner of the club that he actually manages. Because Cesc Fabregas has shares in Como with the likes of Thierry Henry and some other players. So Cesc Fabregas leaving Como would be him leaving the club that he owns technically to join Inter. However, Inter is definitely has a better team. They just lost the Champions League final. So one thing is for sure, Inter absolutely has a better squad. So I think this might be a really good move for Cesc Fabregas in terms of him leaving and joining Inter. However, one thing is for sure. one thing is definitely for sure, it is going to be a tough one because he doesn't just have skin in the game. He owns the club. He owns Como. He has stake in Como. And so leaving Como without a successor would probably be not the right thing. And I don't think he would actually do that. So we are getting to see, we are keeping an eye on this situation, and I'll keep you guys updated when this actually happens. Now, for the next thing, we are going to be looking at Theo Hernandez because Theo Hernandez, it is understood by Al Hilal are insisting for Theo Hernandez with Simon Inzaghi expected to call the player this week. Agreements club to club for 35 million euros, add-ons included, but no green light from Tio at this stage. No proposal from Atleti for today, just initial approach. Now, this situation basically it gives us two things in to focus on. First things first is Simeon Inzaghi has chosen to go to Al Hilal. Now, that money that he's going to get per season is just ridiculous money. He's going to be getting 26 million euros, if I'm not mistaken, per season, tax free. Tax free. That is crazy. Like to be a coach. I think he might be the highest earning coach in the world of football at this point in time. I don't know what Pep actually gets, but I think it's quite sure that that's a lot of money for a coach. Now he does deserve it because he's somebody that has taken Inter to Champions League final and Champions League final in 3 years. He has taken them to two Champions League finals. So it's definitely something that he definitely deserves. However, in this situation, Theo Hernandez, I don't think he has basically considered him going to what do you call it, Saudi yet. However, I think it's going to be really good money for him. He doesn't play as well or as much anymore with the likes of where he plays in Paris Saint-Germain, but he just won, if I'm not mistaken, the Champions League. And so him having the likes of Nuno Mendes in front of him is going to be a tough one for him to actually break in through the team. But I think um, it all depends on where he sees himself and where he sees himself going in this situation. Now we go into the next one because this is also a big one for the player himself. His name is Ansu Fati. Ansu Fati has basically been wanted by AS Roma or AS Monaco. I said AS Roma, my bad. AS Monaco basically saying here, AS Monaco and Barcelona are back in advanced talk for Ansu Fati after issues over the weekend. Exclusive details, loan move, 12 million euros buy option with an additional huge sell-on clause included. Final steps, then the deal will be sealed. Let me tell you something about Ansu Fati. This is one player that I absolutely hate what happened to. He's like the likes of Broja, the likes of Alexandra Patu, these star boys that got too much, too much put on their plate before they were ready for it. That's one thing that I'm so very scared for Lamine Yamal because of this kind of situations. Let me tell you something. It is going to be a tough one. It is going to be a tough one for me to see um, Yamal actually not get the the beauty from his talent because of too much put on his plate. However, one thing is for sure. One thing is for damn sure. Ansu Fati going to AS Roma would definitely, hopefully, give him the jolt and the kind of focus for him to get back to being the player that he is. Because trust me when I say this, it is quite it is quite difficult to play under those lights of Barcelona and be the number 10 in Barcelona. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about these stories down below. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you do not forget. And whenever we post, you guys are absolutely here to actually get into this. We are going to be going live sooner now than later and more frequently. So make sure you guys hit that, turn on your notifications so you guys get notified when we actually go live. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the stories that I've just given to you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.